What's interesting is that you and I were just bullshitting, and I wish I was recording that because that's the best part. But anyway, this is Foster and Friends with your host Brent Foster, and today's a very special day because I have a very awesome and special guest. His name is Adam Johnson, and he's the founder of Tugboat Jack, an apparel brand, and he's a very talented artist. He's one of my friends. We go back quite a ways. I can't even remember when we started getting to know each other through our wives, right?
Yeah, it must have been shortly after we moved to Indy, so probably 6 years ago or something.
Yeah, that's 6 years ago, and then got to know you guys, and it's just been a great experience. And then also, had some beers together and got to fish together and go, glamping together, and not necessarily cool. The roughing it part, but it was cool. It was a lot of fun, and I remember down at Dale Hollow, you missed a big fish one evening, and that was a frustration too.
Yeah, that's one of the only times I've broken my line before.
Yeah, and hopefully that might be an inspiration for one of your pieces of art, man.
Yeah, I keep trying to get fishing people in, but I just can't grab them.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. So, we'll dive in. I just first of all, I want to offer you a Padron cigar. Okay, these things are pretty sweet. Sally, you can see it on the camera here, but I have a next door neighbor who we call Cigar Tony, and he hooks me up with all kinds of cigars, and I love the guy. He's awesome, a good brother, and so
that's because he went from the alcohol rep to now the cigar guy.
Yeah. Right. Actually, I'm blessed by a couple of things. That gentleman is the Bourbon Elf. And so at our old place in Fishers, I live next to the Bourbon Elf, and then now in Westfield, Indiana, I live next to a guy by the name of Cigar Tony. We've dubbed him because, man, his cigars are amazing. He's got a humidor in his house that is just bar none. So kudos to Cigar Tony. Yeah, it's awesome. But basically, this Patron cigar, I'm going to actually read this because you need to know what I just gave you.
So I have no idea.
It's a legendary blend created by the Padron family. Often top cigar lovers quote it the most favorite, on its most favorite list. It's considered the pinnacle of cigars of many, and it features everything a stogie lover wants, which is full flavor, superb construction, balance, and complexity.
Yeah.
So there you go, my man. I don't know if you're a cigar connoisseur at all.
Yeah.
Maybe one a year or something, because maybe your insurance premiums would go up if you were to smoke too many of them. They tend to ask about if you smoke or smoke a cigar and how many times.
Yeah, no comment on that.
Yeah, me neither. So like when I go to my primary care physician, a lot of times they ask how much alcohol that I drink. And it's like they say, oh, is it like one glass of wine a week or two or three or something? And it's always three.
They always ask me by the day, and I'm,
by the day.
Like, how many drinks a day do you usually have? Typically, I don't have a drink during the day.
Right.
But then, on any given Saturday, I might have like 10.
So. Right. So then how does that average out? Yeah.
They usually break it down to like 1.5 a day.
They do.
That's what they usually put it down as.
That is awesome. I love it. So, Adam, I'm going to ask you a couple of fun questions just so the audience can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think of Facebook changing its name to Meta?
Yeah, because that just happened yesterday, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about that because I didn't know what it meant. I don't even know if this is what it meant, but I think it has some like Eastern meaning of like peace and like goodwill or something. But I don't think that's what they meant by it, although I wouldn't be surprised if that's like sneakily what they meant.
Yeah, like a subliminal message.
Yeah, but it's like, they're in all this hot water now, and so they try to change their name to Goodwill.
Jeez, that's...
I'm like, that's right.
That's That's even crazier. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, if you could have any superpower in the world, what kind of like superpower would you pick? And then I'll answer. I know this is like just trivial stuff, but I mean it's very important.
You mean like what superhero or like just one
like
power?
what power?
Okay.
What power?
I like Wolverine because he can't die, which is like probably the worst thing that could happen to you, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
If he gets blown up, he just heals.
He just heals. He just never dies.
Yeah.
He lives on forever.
Yeah. He's like the only one who they make a point to say he's ageless, even though they've all been around since like the 40s.
Yeah, I love the parallel there with your artwork and living forever, because what as a creator and what you're doing is creating a legacy of beautiful art that's amazing, that'll live on even after. Unfortunately, we're not like Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know,
for now.
Yeah. Maybe Meta can figure that out for us. So we live like in a space of perpetual, for lack of a better term, just infinitely, because we digitally live on forever in Meta.
Yeah.
We create our,
I mean, unless like a EMP goes off and all the servers go down.
That very well could be, and then we'll be out in the mountains surviving just fine.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go down pretty fast.
Yeah, I probably would too.
I don't think I have it in me to do the horrible things you need to do to survive. Like eating nuts and berries, that's fine, but it's the other killing stuff. Scavengers and all the horrible stuff you'd have to do to
just to make it. Yeah. Have you ever seen the show Alone?
I feel like I watched it at your house once.
You did. Yeah, because we love Alone, and I've watched every single season since the inception.
So. I think it's been a while, but I think I watched it at your house. Yeah.
If you want to watch people starve, that's the show to watch. It is so intriguing to see what happens to people when they're out there by themselves. So for those of you listening, that's a great show. One of my favorites. Adam, what's one of your favorite shows that you've been watching recently? Or in the past, doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I literally watch TV like all day long. Like I just I got two screens like this.
Oh, you do? Okay.
One's just like running TV all day while I'm like working.
That's awesome.
So it's hard to say because I get real excited about TV, but I've usually like polished off something and moved on to whatever. So did you polish off Squid Game? I had trouble watching that. I have not actually finished it because things with subtitles I can't really watch because I work while I watch TV, and if I'm not working, I generally don't watch TV. So
gotcha.
I tried to do it with the voiceover, and I didn't like it. So I heard it's good.
It is good, but
I kind of got the gist of it.
Yeah, it was early on. You get the gist of it, and you're just curious about who wins. Yeah, and how this whole thing plays out. I imagine there'll be a sequel. So anyway, tell me about Tugboat Jack. How did you get started creating the brand? I know there's a bridge there of Yonder and then Tugboat Jack. So can you kind of go all the way back to what inspired you to be an artist? And then roll into all of that and where you're at today, because I think that's super valuable for people to understand and maybe learn from what it takes.
Well,
some of the struggles.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask about those last couple things because I just I grew up drawing, like that's what I do, real reclusive, and I like just kind of being alone drawing. Like my parents, they always said they could just like give me a clipboard with some paper and like I'd be off in the corner while they did whatever. Yeah. So, when I graduated high school, I had kind of no direction, and my best friend's sister went to school where I ended up going, and she was doing graphic design, so seemed like a good idea, so I did that. I don't know. It's one of those things where how kids don't know what they're gonna do, and I didn't. I just kind of winged it, and then I had school loans, and so I stuck with it. So Here I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like calling stuff art or artists because it's
Yeah.
I don't. They always described it in school as like a layer cake, you know, with like high art, like painting and sculpture and that sort of stuff is at the top. And I don't know. I'm a commercial artist, so I'm like the base.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does.
So there's like these. If it's like a wedding cake, the real tiny cake at the top is the painters and sculptors that are, Picasso and Van Gogh and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And most people never get there. So I always liked it in school because I was like, well, the base cake is big and that's where people succeed, so that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
But I don't like calling it art because it's not.
It's
The higher up the cake you go is when it becomes art, in my opinion.
So where is Tugboat Jack at? Is it base or is it up top?
It's
to you.
To me, it's based and because I don't even consider it art; it's product. You know
So
what I mean?
okay,
You know what
got
I mean?
it.
Like it,
I do.
because a lot of people call it art, and I don't usually correct people for the sake of politeness, but
Right.
it's
Well, I appreciate you being polite to me.
all right.
So as I call it art,
As a
'cause-
Midwesterner, I am
Yeah.
compulsively polite. I can't help it.
I love that. So if it's not art, you're creating product.
Yeah, it's like a car.
Yeah, it's like you're creating product that people are interested in. Like I'm wearing some of Adam's product, Tugboat Jack hat, and then dog with a tail shirt. That's what I call it. That's my nickname for it. But
Yeah, it's
I love it.
yeah. So that is Tugboat Jack. So
Yes.
my dog's name is Jack, and that's my dog. Slapped a tail on him for the fish part.
Which I love, the marriage of that.
Yeah, that was actually one of my very first design ideas for this, 6 years ago or whenever I started it.
Yeah.
Was this mermaid dog.
Yeah.
But I just at that time I was not really interested in trying to sell stuff that I thought was just cool. Like I was trying to sell stuff I thought people wanted.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's really comfortable too.
Oh yeah, that's the
So
key for me is if I don't want to wear it, then I'm not going to make it.
yeah, you put this product on a cheap shirt,
Yeah.
and no one's gonna wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something that I saw on your website, how you want people to wear this stuff. It needs to be comfortable, and you want it to eventually be worn out,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's your goal, is that product is worn out and that people continue to love what you're putting out there as far as product. I know I do. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
My wife loves it, and we wear the stuff all the time, and we like to just share as much as possible what you're doing with Tugboat Jack to anyone and everyone. So that's part of this process too. If you guys out there are interested, what are the handles that people need to go to check out your Tugboat Jack stuff?
I mean, the website's tugboatjack.com.
Okay.
Instagram's Tugboat Jack Co.
Yep.
Or at Tugboat Jack Co.
Okay.
I think Facebook might just be Tugboat Jack. But Instagram's the one I drive stuff on. Facebook is just kind of repost of my Instagram stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're not going to see new stuff on Facebook. It's all on Instagram.
It's all on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kind of apparel do you sell?
I mean, T-shirts is the main thing.
Yeah.
I do some hats, but that's kind of more just for fun. Because the shirts are the thing that sells the most, so that's kind of where I stick with.
Yep.
We got sweatshirts, hoodies, bandanas. I don't know, anything I can screen print on. And then I had been doing some prints lately,
Yep.
just because a lot of people have been asking for it. And
Yeah.
I got a resource that will print on demand when people order prints, so that way I don't have to. Shipping prints is a huge pain because you got to ship them in tubes and all this stuff to make sure they don't get smashed in the mail.
That's right.
So these guys take care of all that, and I don't have to worry about it. And it's really high quality, so it's kind of win-win for everyone.
Yeah. So starting a new brand or a brand like Tugboat Jack, and you don't have to be specific about this, but just generally share with the folks that are going to be listening. How do you actually like I know that this is your dog. This is one of the things that over 6 years you've been kind of developing and thinking about, and maybe even longer than that. But like, it's like, how do you go about starting a business like this? Because for people that are trying to maybe learn from, like, gosh, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating.
So I, like you said, I just switched to Tugboat Jack.
Yes.
This spring.
Yep.
So launching that was really easy on account of I just changed the name and kind of everything was already set in place.
Yeah.
So that part's probably a bad example. But when I started, it was the Yonder Clothing Company, which I had to change the name because of trademark stuff that I don't want to get into on account of.
No, yeah, don't. We're good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when I started, I had seen a lot of people were getting into the like local shirt thing, and I'd seen a lot of garbage out there, and I thought I could probably make some better stuff. And at the time, I didn't like my job at all. Like, I was just making PowerPoints. And, you don't want to swear on this, right?
I don't care if you swear or not, dude.
When I lapse into my natural, if I start talking enough, I'm gonna start.
That's fine.
I just caught myself.
There's a thing called a bleep, so you can just beep you out if it gets too vulgar. So you can say whatever you want to say on the show.
I don't swear as much anymore since I am just kind of home with my kids all day.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
I mean Max has got them all down at this point. He'd drop the F word and he'd be like, he knows the meaning of the F word for every use except like the actual meaning of it. Like I caught him once kicking our front door, just shouting the F word.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, shh. I think it's funny, but Natalie hates it.
Yeah.
So I don't.
No, understood.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've seen a bunch of like terrible shirts out there, and people were, doing really well in it, and I hated my job, and I was just making PowerPoints and stuff. And I mean, it was a good job. Like that's a whole other thing. But I was just kind of bored because illustration's really my main thing.
Yeah.
So I did it more just to have fun at first and to make a little extra money. Which, like, if anyone's listening and thinking they'll get into it for the extra money, like maybe do something else. Because it's the work to money part of it's definitely out of whack for a while. But so
that's not dissimilar from so many startups or people starting out. There's a period where you have to bootstrap it. There's a lot of work, and it's really hard to get traction going. So that's great advice for people listening.
Well, so I designed 4 shirts, and at the time, probably now too, people were real into the like state pride nationalist sort of thing.
Yeah.
Probably they are more than ever now, but I'm not really interested in it. So, but at the time I was, because everybody was. So I made a bunch of Indiana shirts. Just thinking I could kind of capitalize on the Indiana brand, because no one had heard of me. So, but they heard of Indiana. So if I made a shirt that said Indiana, that's, it's like launching a brand that already exists.
Correct. You kind of married yourself to that a bit and could get some traction that way.
So I made 2 Indiana shirts and then 1 like Fort Wayne shirt and then 1 Yonder shirt. Yeah,
I really like the Johnny Appleseed one.
Yeah, that one's been around since the beginning.
Right.
Which I redid it at some point. But that was one of my first ones. So I designed those, and then I bought like a cheap screen printing press and I started screen printing in the garage, like all of the shirts. you know, and I had like clotheslines hanging around the garage where I'd hang them up to dry. And I don't know, stay up all night printing shirts. It's one of those things that kind of sounds real romantic now, but Natalie would tell you how like much she hated it.
Yeah.
Because I was just in there working all the time. And I
Yeah.
didn't have kids back then too, so
Yeah.
it's something that, well, I'm sure I would have done things differently now, but
Yeah.
at the time I was like printing them all myself and
Doing them all yourself.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And now with kids, it's a lot harder to do that type of stuff, right? You're probably
Well,
not doing
I
it.
haven't printed the shirts myself in
Years.
like 5 years probably.
Yeah.
We partner with several people that print them all for us. And,
Yeah.
just got a guest room full of them.
Yeah. When you mentioned illustrations, tell me about some of the illustrations that you are doing now, and specifically one of them I was going to ask you about is the owl one. I mean, that one is very detailed.
Yeah, that's kind of my
man. That I was like, how long did it take Adam to do this one?
Yeah, I mean, everybody always asks that with stuff like that. How
Yeah.
long did it take?
Yeah,
I never know the answer.
Yeah, it just is.
That one took a long time, I'll say, because I did it twice. Like I completely finished it, and then I decided it wasn't good enough. Because that's the one thing too about art and artists and that sort of stuff. Like I assume that artists generally like their artwork, like the way they talk about it, and are all like pompous about like
Right.
my art. But I generally hate everything that I made. Within a couple months, I like hate everything. So
Yeah.
like
Why is that for you? Why is that?
I never think it's good enough. Like, and because that's why I redid that Johnny Appleseed shirt, was because I had been selling it for years, and I was like, I hate this thing. And it kept selling, so I wanted to keep selling it, but I didn't want to sell the old one because I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I hated people wearing it, so I made a new one. I don't know. I think it's I mean I got like a whole like bundle of like mental health issues, so I think it's just this.
It's just
Never being good enough.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what drives me. Is it's like the next thing's got to be better than this thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean that's part of the whole mental health journey, is finding out other people have problems.
Oh,
too, you know,
totally.
so.
Totally. And yeah, certainly going through the pandemic, that brought up a lot of stuff for a lot of people too.
That's actually, to me, I know this is a switch, but
Yeah.
to me that the pandemic was exactly what I needed to just kind of start over and
Yeah.
you know, not have to go to work and be at home with my kids and just kind of, you know, get better.
That's awesome.
So
Not awesome that the pandemic happened and COVID happened, but
I like
great
the
to hear
pandemic.
that
It's been great for me.
it's been great for you.
Hope it never ends.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, the products that you're putting out are excellent, and I love them. The owl one is amazing, and also all the different things that you're doing.
Oh, sorry, I was
Yeah.
talking about the owl thing. I got a hard time staying on top.
No, you're good.
So,
That's why I'm here.
yes, so I did the whole thing. Like, the reason I never know how long things take, because I kind of work on it like in between stuff.
Okay.
You know,
So it's not like you're tracking hours. I mean,
No,
you're just doing stuff, and
Yeah.
then it ends up coming to life.
Well, because I did the owl thing's real indicative of kind of my like personal style. It's
Mhm.
like Where's Waldo thing. Like
Yeah.
I love details and making things intricate and
Yeah.
like. So this is the problem with the word art, is it's impossible to talk about it without using it.
No, I know.
I hate the word, and it's like
You're using it, but I know how you're using it. And I
Yeah.
think that's what matters. You have to. There's a word that defines it, and people are going to associate art with art,
yeah.
whatever that is. But art is a vague term, and then it's also just like an umbrella term for all things that
Yeah.
are created. That
Well,
they call it.
we use the word art constantly in the like advertising industry to talk about like logos logos and icons and all this stuff.
Yeah, but
It's not art.
they're not. Yeah, it's product.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, I get that. But you can use.
I'm gonna use it. I'm probably gonna use it a lot, but just I hate it. I don't mean it in the way that other people mean it.
Maybe we'll just bleep it every time you say art.
That's fine. You know what? That would be really good, actually.
That'd be really funny. Because
From this point on, all use of the word art.
just bleep.
Yeah.
So from here on out, everybody, I'm just gonna bleep art. We'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. But
Yeah. And
you know.
any swearing that gets bleeped out too, you can assume that I said art.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Can you tell me about the t-shirts and the slogans, like some of the stuff that you're coming up with? You got friend of the forest, enjoy the journey. You've got life is a great adventure. Give it a hoot. I mean, that's on your shirt there. Of course, what is that? I'm trying to read the blue shirt with the moon.
Oh,
what's that one?
that's
Rise
it.
Slow or something?
Live slow, die old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So like.
That's like, so I'm getting into repeat slogans now.
Okay.
Because I mean, because so much of it's like the illustration for me, but like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Images speak louder than words, right?
yeah, but
I
most
didn't say
people
art.
just buy,
Okay.
yeah, but you just did.
I
So
did.
make sure you bleep that one. Well, I mean, lots of people buy shirts that just have words on it, and
Yeah. And actually,
I've never really dabbled in that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
well, you know, there's a dude out there named Gary V. He always is taking like it's a picture of him with a cardboard sign with something on it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I know
what
who you're
people are
talking
doing
about.
these days,
Yeah.
and they're marketing like crazy that
Yeah.
way. And it's like, okay, at what point is that worn out? I've seen so much of it, but I guess it just speaks something anyway.
Well, so I guess the slogans. I mean, the Tugboat Jack idea is like it's supposed to be real folksy. Like
Yeah,
that's the best word I can use to describe it.
folksy.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't want to be like going in like full Patagonia or something where it's like national parks and stuff.
Right.
But I like that
Or
stuff.
North Face.
Yeah, exactly.
They
It's
should
just
make Meta. Well, they can't make Meta Face. But someone will
yeah,
come up with some shit.
it should be North Meta
North Meta.
instead.
There you go. Get
Uh,
your avatar today. North Meta.
I think Meta's
Meta
just
North.
going to be the.
It's going to be a buzzword.
Well, I think it's still going to be called Facebook. Meta's just the.
You still
Oh,
it's kind of like Google and Alphabet. Alphabet's parent of Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll just be Meta and then Facebook under it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, so the Tugboat Jack thing, folksy is what I'm going for, but
Okay.
I'm a old chunk of coal at this point,
Yeah.
and so I'm not in touch with what the kids are doing, whatever.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff I've been doing lately is just trying to like positive messaging and like, you know, I don't know. That sounded really stupid.
No,
But
actually,
I got, you know,
it doesn't. It's not stupid. What I'm gleaning from it is, it sounds like we're not supposed to be born in this century. Maybe.
I mean,
Is it like that, where maybe you're just throwback,
well,
folksy, but like
there's just kind of this weird stigma to like what I'm gonna say next, but it's like, you know, it's simpler times is kind of my
okay.
idea. Like and I don't mean like the 50s or
Are you
the,
talking like technology wise, like all the tech stuff?
just in general, man. It's like
Everything's
that one. It's got a quote from
Yeah.
Ralph Waldo Emerson,
Right.
which I use a lot. This live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, drink the wild air.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the simple things in life, like there's so much joy to be gleaned from it. And I feel like everybody's trying to like go hard, you know, like this YOLO. I don't think that's probably a thing anymore, but it was a thing.
Well, maybe to some people.
No,
I'm not just joking.
Never to me, but it was a thing.
Yeah. No, I get.
And
that.
I don't, I mean, I understand the point of it, but I think that this idea of like showing yourself on like mountains and doing all of these like gigantic things is
Mhm.
how you find joy. And I think it's like much simpler things, and you can be very happy and content with like a, very simple life. And
Amen to that, bro. That's good. That's good.
That's what I mean with the simpler times, because that's just such a loaded thing to say now. Because there probably has never been that mythical simpler time. Like people from the 50s probably yearned for the 20s, and they probably yearned for the 1880s, or I don't know. But it's just this idea of like, I don't know, sitting on your porch drinking a beer on a sunny day is a good time.
That's it, with kids and the family and people that you love around you, and just enjoying life.
Yeah.
Taking it a bit slower instead of always going and going and going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea of this live slow, die old thing is just, you got X amount of time here, you might as well try to get as much out of it as you can.
Exactly.
So.
And I subscribe to that.
Yeah.
As well.
Although
it's looking at my life, some would say, well, when are you slowing down?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of irons in the fire, but at the same time, yeah, it's one of the most difficult things to do is maintain balance in life, right?
Yeah, and I have none of it, but you still can stop and take a breath once in a while.
Exactly. My grandpa Konopasek used to say, you need to stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and you guys are going too fast. You need to slow down and take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I personally appreciate about getting out in nature.
Yeah.
And being out in God's creation, taking it all in. You got that's probably what resonates so much with me, is just with Tugboat Jack, with the branding, the way that the bleep artwork.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing is really sweet, and what resonates to me is that fishing and fishing, hunting, biking, kayaking, spending time outdoors and getting outside versus being inside at a console gaming, and then like maybe doing that in a virtual reality session for hours and hours on end, where there's a whole world out there that's going on around you, and you're completely missing it if you spend too much time doing that. It doesn't say you can't, or shouldn't. It's a lot of fun to play some of those games, but generationally, with the advancements of technology throughout all of our economy and our lives, it's really changed our culture a lot. So the message that you're sending and putting out there as far as product, I love that branding. I think it's great. I think it's a reminder for people to slow down and just grab a beer, have some bourbon, smoke a cigar, hang out, and enjoy the company around you. Listen to some really good music.
Yeah, and I mean, all of those things are things that I stand for. Yeah, or like this one I have on. It's one of my newer ones, but some of my friends and I used to always say, I don't give a hoot. I think it's a real funny thing to say, but even now it's kind of one of those things where it's like cool to not care.
Right.
And we need more people that care about things and have like a passion for anything these days.
Right.
So, I don't know. Everything for me is kind of just pointing back to this like positive like mindset, and even if it's just waking up in bed and it's raining, just kind of taking a second to enjoy the sounds and the comfort of being in bed. And it's raining.
It's raining.
Yeah.
I mean, what
then
else?
Get back to the grind.
Yeah.
So
I love that. I love it, and it's a good reminder. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
What let's see. So as you look out in the future, where do you see Tugboat Jack going? Like, what do you want it to be? What do you think is out there? Is it just like just let it be what it is? There's no plans. It's just
that's kind of. I mean, I've always I have hopes and dreams, and they change all the time. And I mean, I think what you just said is probably the most accurate. It's a ride, and I'm just kind of on it at the moment. Like,
Yeah.
it really, it's a nice side income, and it takes up a lot of my time. And I, probably once a month think about hanging it all up in just moments of doubt. But my wife reminds me constantly. It brings me just tons of like freelance work. And
Yes.
really, that's its greatest strength. Is it just promotes me as someone who makes stuff, and then people who like it and also need stuff made come to me, and that's because it's led to me making shirts for like Mountain Hardware and Sims Fishing and just a bunch of big brands that I pay for normally, and like now I make their shirts. So
Right. That's brilliant, and it's been beneficial. Just I like how you're being open with it. That way, you're not like trying to control something or its outcome. You're just
I try to.
You're kind of flowing with it, at least from what I can glean from you.
I try to control it like you wouldn't believe, but
okay.
I've been doing it long enough to know that there's no.
Okay.
As soon as you make plans for it,
things change. So there's a nugget of advice for people listening: is as soon as you start to make a plan for something. I mean, I feel like the older I get, the more I realize that.
Well, what's that old adage that we make plans and God laughs?
He laughs and just says, "Okay, yeah, okay, my son."
Well,
like Max telling you, "Hey, Dad." Right, and you look at them like, okay, Max, or my daughter Indy and Addie, and just it's funny because, all right, yeah.
But I do have all kinds of hopes for it. It just who knows what life's gonna throw at you. And, like last summer, it was selling like so many shirts. I was like, if this keeps up, here we go. But then we had to change the name, and everything ground to a halt. And start fresh, and here we are.
Totally. So just stay in the creed of the current.
Yeah, that's it. All comes back to just enjoy it while you're on this spaceship that's blue and green.
Right. It's crazy, and then we'll be on a spaceship using Bitcoin to fly to the moon to base up to buy a vacation home on Mars, right?
Yeah.
Like eventually.
Yeah.
The way the world is going, it's crazy.
We'll see about that.
We'll see.
I think things seem to me to be on a bit of a knife's edge where, we could be headed towards, Star Trek, or we could be headed towards the caveman days.
Our impending doom. Right?
Yeah. I think things could go either way real quick.
And they certainly can, because there's nothing that's guaranteed. So, nothing guaranteed in life. So, it's amazing. Well, I appreciate you spending some time with me today and talking about Tugboat Jack and your journey with what you're creating, and I love it. And I'm just really excited to be thinking about what the future is. In fact, for just even for anybody out there, including myself, I know how to get in touch with Adam. But again, could you repeat, like, where do people go to check out Tugboat Jack stuff, and then how do they engage with you if they're maybe a business that's looking to utilize your services?
Yeah, tugboatjack.com is kind of the main outlet.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully you get through the spam and all.
Respond to an email. Yeah.
I live the life of a recluse at this point, so I think this is the first time I've talked to someone that I don't live with or work with since last Friday.
Well, we'll have to do it again at some point because just to get an update to see how Tugboat Jack is developing. I'm super stoked, and maybe you can do some. Maybe you and I can collaborate on some things with Northbound Stories.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah,
it's just.
I know it's bandwidth, it's time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just you know, as long as we both stay in the creative current, I think we're going to be fine. So with that, you know, I'll just kind of wrap up here.
Sure.
I'll just go ahead and pause it.